Yo, what's up everybody? This is Joshua Casper and welcome to the walkthrough of my new UK bass rack. It's pretty serious, this rack. Usually I try to go simple and I try to get just drag and drop type things. You don't have to do anything, you just put it on the channel and go. However, this is very involved and it's a really nice sound, so I don't think that should be a problem. If you want really good stuff, sometimes you got to put in a little bit of work to get to the sound, you know what I mean? But I've done most of the heavy lifting for you guys here, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you, give you some examples, show you what it sounds like, and then show you what you need to do to go ahead and get it working inside of your project. Alright, so that's the bass sound that we're going to be making, or that's already been made, but is going to come out of the rack when you go ahead and get it. Some things about the rack: it does require operator, it requires massive, and it also requires this third-party plugin, but this is a free download, so I'm going to leave a link on the blog, obviously, to go ahead and get that. But you need to make sure that's installed, this defacer by Audio Assault, before you try to install this rack or put this rack into your project. Otherwise it's not going to work and the sound isn't as good without it. So if we listen to the sound, so you can hear that the defacer makes a big difference, and it's free, so I mean you should just go grab it to have it in your arsenal anyway. A couple of things to know: there are 3 instrument chains. There's a sub bass, which is run by operator, and the sub bass chain has a compressor on it, so you're going to have to route the audio sidechain compression to the right source. I just used the drum group. I left the EQ filter on for the lower end of the frequency, just in case you're using a drum loop like I am, where you don't want to be, ducking behind the hi-hats or anything like that. And then you're going to have to route the sub bass, and you're going to have to do the same for the mid bass compressor as well. Again, the EQ is on. All you really should have to do is just route to where your drums are, or your kick drum if you're making some 4-to-the-floor stuff. So once you've done that, and by the way, if you hover over this, you can see over here in the info view, if you look over here when I hover over, it shows you some, some reminder to route the sidechain compressors and which VSTs it requires, and obviously my website if you want to go check out the full post about what needs to be done and what you can do with this rack. But this is what it will look like when you drag it out into your project, and it should be ready to go. But if you want more sub bass, if you want more mid bass, or if you want that high bass, you can pump those up individually, and then I've added some distortion to the sub if you needed it. You can widen the mid range, or you can add some drive via a tube inside a massive for the higher patch, the higher end of the patch. Those are essentially here, and then we also have the threshold for the compressors. You have them both individually, so if you want to maybe duck more from the sub and less from the mid, that's a possibility. I left that up to you guys. And then over here we have some high pass and low pass filters. This is just for filtering, simple stuff. This is the subcut on the EQ8. There is a EQ on the entire rack, and this is just the scale feature if you wanted more or less of it. And then I have an OTT compressor on there set to a low 25%. That just really kind of, it tightens up that low end and kind of expands the high end a little bit. It's a really great preset for the multiband dynamics audio effect. You don't need to use it if you don't want it, but I mean, you should really just get in here and tweak these out. And then of course I have a saturator on there where you can adjust the drive and the dry wet, and then the limiter gain, and that's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm not going to tweak any of these knobs inside of the project because I have the knobs tweaked to make it sound good for this preview. But I think you guys can tell just by listening and looking at what's going on here, it's pretty involved, and it's a pretty sweet rack for UK bass style bass, I guess. Do you say that? UK bass is like the genre, and then you have to say UK bass? Sounds strange. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the website. It should be there when you guys see this video. and make sure to share it with your friends, and let me know what else you guys want to hear. We'll see you next time. Peace.